Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. And while Jack and I have only talked maybe an hour and a half, I know a lot about him because of this conference, meaning those two questions. I learned a lot about him, and he learned a lot about me. And at lunch, it's amazing how in a short period of time, when you're willing to have an honest conversation, you can get to know a lot about a person. When you're willing to be vulnerable. So I appreciate the time that we spent at our table. And a great place to work. We have some great companies that are here today. I know Whole Foods is on our list. EY is on our list. This is always nerve-wracking because I'm going to forget somebody. The Container Store is on our list and have been on our list for a long time. So we're happy about that and hope to see others perhaps on our list. This is one of my business school professors, Jim Collins, which was the first time I heard about this idea of really what business could do beyond the P&L and the balance sheet, the role that business could have on society. And this is the mission statement for a great place to work. It's one of the things that really got me attracted to the business of Great Place to Work. And this mission statement has changed in the 18 months since I got involved. Two things have changed. One is it now says organizations where it used to say companies, because I want to make sure that we help all workers have a great place to work. It doesn't matter if they're working for a nonprofit organization. They too should have a great place to work. And thank you. And the other change is I added for all. This is probably the most controversial thing I've done as I move around the world. I added for all. And I'm going to tell you why I added for all as a result of my investigation and getting to know things about Great Place to Work. So a few facts. We've surveyed over 100 million people, survey about 12 million people a year. So we've got a lot of data. When we make recommendations and have findings, people trust them because we've got a lot of data. It's highly reliable. 10,000 organizations a year, at least. Last year, we actually had 14,000 that take our survey somewhere around the world. And we have offices in 44 countries. So we have one in the US, and we have one in Colombia, great place to work there, and in Switzerland, where I met Anya earlier today, and so on. We can go around the world, and we've got a lot of people involved in this business. It gives us really rich data about what's going on for workers and organizations globally. Now, a lot of people say, well, you must use a different survey in Colombia than you use in the United States, or that you use in Venezuela, or that you use in Argentina. No, it's the exact same survey. And people say, well, people are very different. Actually, as it comes to work, people want the exact same thing. You know, we've proven this. They want to have pride in the work that they do. That doesn't mean they want to wear a cap and have a coffee mug with the company's logo on it. It means if their job is cleaning tables, they're cleaning tables, and they want to clean this table better than any other table because of the people they work with and the people that they know are going to come into that room. That's what pride is. It's not an ego thing. It's a thing about this work that I'm doing, I'm going to do it because other people here really depend on it. That's the pride that we measure through about 17 statements of our survey. The other thing is that they want to enjoy the people that they work with. This is what people want, especially the people who say they don't want it. They really want it. People like to enjoy the people that they work with. They want to be comfortable because if they do, they can be themselves. And that's what everybody wants. Introverts and extroverts want to be themselves at work. And this is an important part of it. We measure it. And they want to trust who they work for. It's all about trust. We are the trust experts. It's all about trust. That's what we measure. That's what our numbers tell you. It's called the Trust Index Score. That's what these great companies who are on our list are measured by. We measure trust. And we measure, for leaders, three things: respect, credibility, and fairness. The three things that are completely absent in our presidential race. Because we believe a great leader treats people with respect, they are credible, they say things that you can believe because they're based on facts and data and their best understanding of the situation at the time, and they're fair. That's what we measure. It's about 24 of the questions that we ask about leaders. So that's what we measure. That's the business. And when you're on our list, your scores are high. So the companies that are here, they're high. It's the toughest list to get on in the world. It's the 100 best list in the United States. So here's Warren Buffett, pretty smart guy, has an interesting statement to make about trust. And here's another guy. This is John Stump, the ex-CEO of Wells Fargo Bank. He resigned a week ago. And Warren Buffett lost, I think, $2.5 billion in 2 weeks based on what happened at Wells Fargo Bank, which, as far as we're concerned, I'm just really glad Wells Fargo isn't on our list. Okay, because it was a breakdown in trust, if you know anything about that. It was a cultural breakdown of unethical behavior. And people say that when you hug Warren Buffett, it's like hugging a teddy bear. Well, I think this is what happens when you shake the teddy bear's hand. He kind of has the hand of a grizzly bear when you lose $2.5 billion of his money, as he did, and Warren Buffett was with him the day before the Senate hearing. I'm not saying Warren Buffett did that. But it was certainly a tough day for John Stump. So I want to talk about 3 things that we've changed at Great Place to Work and why. When I got there, I didn't know anything about the business, so I dug into the data. I'm an engineer by training, so I went into the data. And what I found is that you could be a great place to work, and yet there were people at that great place to work who were having very different work experiences. And this is what this graphic shows. So this is 100 best data. So these are the companies that are the greatest of the great places to work. And you see here, just on one demographic, the difference between men and women, a different work experience. And if you look at the statistics and the numbers, a 13-point spread, a 9-point spread, that's huge. So I looked at this, and then I looked at hourly versus salary. And then I looked at ethnicity. Then I looked at age. And I found you could be a great place to work and have people who were having a not great experience. I didn't think that was okay. That's why I added the for all. And now the statistical methodology is changing for the 2018 list. We're going to measure disparity. We're going to make sure it's a great place to work for all. You're not going to get the label just because a group of people are having a great time. So that's change number 1. The other change we made, I looked at the list over the last 20 years and saw people on the list who went out of business in explosive, headline-grabbing ways, losing tons of money. People who had been on the list for years and never made any money. I decided a great place to work should be financially sustainable. It shouldn't just be about culture. It should be about financial sustainability. That is being added. The other thing we added was an innovation index, because a great place to work should be innovative. I looked at the list and saw companies who just weren't innovative and therefore fell off the list. It should be innovative. So we've added those things for the 2018 list. Innovation, the waste of human potential, which is what I call this, because if I say diversity or inclusion, nobody hears what I have to say. It goes, oh, this guy, okay, yeah, I got another meeting now. So I don't do it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay? So what I say is the waste of human potential. People can hear that. The defenses don't go up, if I say it. So here's just, a direct question, which is one of our survey questions, has been for 25 years. But I don't think anybody ever took the time to look at this and feel like this is not good. And if you're not on the list, the dispersion is huge. Because you only hear about the companies who make the list. You don't hear about the ones who don't make it. So it's a real problem and a great opportunity. As I've traveled around and I talk to CEOs about this change, they get nervous, and then they realize, you know what, I think this is a good thing. I think it's a good thing, but it takes them an adjustment period because they wonder what's going to happen to them on the list because they know they have some issues within their business. So we made the change. We're on our way. The big idea. I think that pictures are worth 10,000 words. What we see shapes what we believe. I had a reaction when I saw the photo of the board of directors at Ben & Jerry's. Just visually seeing that picture. I don't know if I saw the same things that you saw or not, because it's impossible for me to know that. I only have my own eyes. But I look at the photo and I see certain things and I have a reaction. And in thinking about today, I decided to look up the word conscious. And the first definition was about aware of one's surroundings. The next is about being awake, aware, and awake. And we had the earlier exercise today where we were asked how many of you have been here 5 years, 4 years, et cetera, which caused us to look around the room. I'd ask you to look around the room now. Just visually, look around the room. Okay? Now, how many of you, after that scan, noticed there were 3 black people here? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you noticed how many women were here? Okay, a lot of women's hands are up. All right? So in my life's experience, this is common for me. This is common. There's 2 black people at any executive function, especially a CEO gathering. Maybe there's just me. This is a common experience. I'm not crying about anything. My life is amazing. I wouldn't trade my life for anybody's life. My life is absolutely outstanding. But I'm just saying, I see these things. You know, and I come to expect it, and I have to get psyched up for it every time. I'm not one of those people who, oh, just be a great executive and forget about it. No, I got to get psyched up. I got to, calm down, get it together. Be around a bunch of white people today. Okay? So that's what I do. Okay, that's what I do. And so it's been a life of that. Been doing it a long time. Been doing it very, very successfully a long time. And I'm aware of it. I'm conscious of it. I don't bury it. I'm not one of those people who says, well, forget about race. Just be a great businessman. Maybe some people can do that. That's not me. Okay, it's my life's experience. I see things. I react to it. Just deal with it. Because I believe reality is needed for humility. I got to, see the situation as I see it. And so this is the third part of the definition of conscious, sensitive to, painfully aware of. Now, I have a feeling I'm painfully aware of what I just said. Some of you might be painfully aware of it too. Some of you might just be sensitive to it. There's a difference between painfully aware. There's a difference. So now I would ask you to visualize your board of directors. You're in the board meeting. Look around the room. What do you see? Now I'd ask you to look at your executive team, your top team. Can you see them? Can you see them? Okay? So, you're awake, you're aware, and you're sensitive to it. Maybe at this moment, you're a little more sensitive to it. If I saw those images, I'd probably need to go for a run afterwards. Because this is what I do for a living. I work with executive teams of great companies all around the world. This is not just a U.S. issue. I leave the U.S., there's no black people. Thank God I can come back to the U.S. and see 2 black people. Okay, that's not, I am all about God bless America, by the way. Absolutely. Fiercely. But this is part of the reality. And so I'm sharing this to hopefully have you think about how awake you are, how aware you are, and whether you're sensitive to it. And maybe you can increase your sensitivity to it. And maybe this is something that you want to do something about as a result. After years of trying, years of caring, maybe this is something that you want to try and do more about. And that's just for you and your business. For us, we're going to be measuring it. And people may or may not care about that. It's a personal decision. But a picture is worth 10,000 words. So we can talk about diversity. We can talk about inclusion. The picture is worth 1,000 words. This is conscious. I think these things I'm talking about are a big part of conscious capitalism. And I will tell you, my wife was over my shoulder on Saturday when I was looking at the Conscious Capitalism website. She was like, "What are you going to do this week?" Because I'm on the road every week. I mean, we've been married 30 years. Our kids are 25 and 27. They're out. So she's like glad I'm on the road every week. And she could do her thing. One of the things she's doing, she has a debate party, each debate, which I've missed because I've been on the road, just like this one. And this Wednesday night, to come to her debate party, you have to bring a pint of Ben & Jerry's because of what Ben & Jerry's did last week. Okay, the stand that Ben & Jerry's took. So about being awake and aware and sensitive to. One of the problems we have at Great Place to Work in measuring this disparity is there aren't enough women in the statistical sample. We had to lower the threshold from 35% to 30% because there weren't enough. And when you go to people of color, so this is the reality of it. This is the reality of the picture that I'm painting in terms of what you see. And it starts at the top of companies. The further you go down, the more diversity you can find in America. But as the higher you go up, the less you can find. And they tend to be VPs of HR, the diversity chief. When I walk in, they go, "Oh, here's our head of diversity." I kind of know who it is. Okay, I'm like, "We want you to meet," and I'm like, "Hey, brother, what's up?" He's like, "Yeah." Okay, I'm just waiting for that not to be true. I want the white guy to be the guy in charge of diversity. That actually happened at Facebook. Finally, it was a white guy. I was like, damn, a white guy, head of diversity. I'm describing an aspect of reality. I'm doing this with no anger in my body. I'm doing this with no pain and resentment in my body because I am a free man living a fantastic, great life. I think that you are wasting human potential is what's happening. That's the result of having everybody look like you around the table. You are wasting human potential. And the people who are 3 or 4 levels down are not giving you everything they have because of what they look up and see. So when you talk about fairness and everybody mattering, they don't believe it. But they act like they do. But they don't because they don't see it. They don't think it really matters. So you're not getting everything. What you want is a workforce of people that are in the shower thinking about what they're going to do that day for you. The same thing you do. You're like in there, okay, then we're going to re-engineer this, and then I'm going to outsource that. That's what we do, right? We're crazy that way. I used to feed my kid thinking about, okay, well, should I outsource it or should I keep it in? I'd be missing his mouth, okay, because I'm obsessed with this thing called business. You want everybody like that. You can get everybody like that. It's not about the money. It's about them being respected, you being credible, and you treating them fairly. And they look at the picture. And they use that picture to decide whether you're credible or not. And if you're not credible, now I have a job. And when I get home, I'm going to update my LinkedIn profile and try and see if I can find a place where it seems like people really want me there. And then if I work extremely hard and give this place everything I have, I can get there too. It's possible for me to get there too. That's what they want. That's fair. That's respect. That's credibility. When they don't see that, you lose all those things. I got all the statistics to prove it. And you kind of get the same old thing. So I didn't want to be a downer today. I'm not a downer person. I'm an officially optimistic person. I love change and I love business. I'm obsessed with it. I absolutely love it. But I'm hoping to inspire you to open your eyes and lead based on what you see. Thank you very much.